Welcome to KFGO for a Cause, brought to you by Neil Van Dam and the Van Dam Financial Group. He is out this morning, but that's okay because I've got two wonderful guests in studio, and he would be so excited to meet you guys. We might have to make a meeting later because he was excited for this morning, but not able to make it. Arlen and Sarah Fisher are in with us with Crosses for Cameron. Welcome to the studio again, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so if you have not heard of Crosses of Cameron at this point, I feel in the Garden of Healing, where have you been? Or maybe you're new to town and you need to know who Arlen and Sarah Fisher are and the impact they're having on our community. Let's talk about how this all starts. Let's talk about the inspiration for Crosses for Cameron.
You know, unfortunately, a lot of nonprofits always start out on a low note, and it happened for us as well. Back in 2018, our son Cameron was in a passenger in a car and unfortunately was hit broadsided at 55 miles an hour. Now, at the point of the accident, Cameron was still alive, and he ended up being extracted from the car. When he was extracted from the car, his lungs collapsed, preventing oxygen to flow through his body. And 4 minutes without oxygen to your brain is major devastation. 20 minutes without oxygen is global devastation. So along with the impact and the starvation of oxygen, his brain passed away. And at that point, he then became a donor. And over his journey, he was able to donate 3 major organs, 2 corneas, and then 119 tissue samples. So in total, over a 5-year period of time, we helped 124 people.
Let's talk about Cameron a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about Cameron? Lost way too soon to us. I know he was only, how old was he, Sarah?
He was 22.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a little bit about Cameron and who he was. Introduce him to our listeners.
Yeah. So, Cameron was known as a friend to everyone. In fact, for his celebration of life, we had over 700 people. And I got a really cool letter from a girl from NDSU or NDSCS where they went to school. And she's from Langdon. And she said, I was scared to come to Big Fargo. And there was this big truck outside. And I said, what a cool truck. And there was a guy behind me that was laughing, and it was Cameron, and it was his truck. And he offered to take her duck hunting and just made her feel like small town. You know, and we have many stories like that. Just, they didn't know Cameron, but he just jumped in to meet them or help them. And Cameron loved the outdoors. I mean, that's where the Garden of Healing really came in too, because if Cameron wasn't hunting, fishing, snowmobiling, motorcycling, he was not happy. And so, in fact, he was going out to trap shoot the night of his accident. So he just really was an outdoor guy. He loved family, friends, and those were the things that were important to him.
I love that outdoor piece. Like those, we know so many of those people in our lives, right? Mm-hmm. Who are just, they are sort of driven by the sun. Like the sun is their energy. They just, the air and the outside and nature, those people who love fishing and hunting and being outside are just sort of sun driven, like they are driven by the sun. And we know so many of those people in our lives that are just in our backyard. Like those are our brothers and our dads and our cousins. And they really do make the world a better place. Like they're just a little bit different, I feel like, than others. I don't know. Maybe it's my bias being around so many of those people. Yeah. But I love that. And I love getting a chance to know Cameron because he really is still impacting the lives of others around him. And I know that's been your mission with Crosses for Cameron and now the Garden of Healing, but he really is touching lives still to this day. It continues to. And your reach just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, and especially with our rock campaign, you know, it started out during COVID as just a way to still reach people for organ donation, as well as do that kindness piece, because when you find it, you're asked to do a random act of kindness. But then after things started to open up and we were going to quit, then we had someone reach out and they were on a walk to die by suicide and found Cameron's Rock, and it changed their mind and they sought help. And, you know, May is Mental Health Month. And so we look at that piece and we really are thankful for Cameron saving a life, which I mean, he would have loved that. But the rock campaign has been all over the world. We just had one found in Poland a couple weeks ago.
What? That is so cool, you guys.
Yeah, and they've been all over the world. So, organ donation is all over the world. Spain being one of the countries that have the highest donation rate because they have an opt-out. We have an opt-in. And I would like to see an opt-in, but I don't know. Statistics say there's more people that would do it if they can opt in instead of out. So anyway, but just being able to have that little fun piece. Again, it's outdoors. People are putting them in camping trails. This young girl who found Cameron's Rock was going to her favorite park, and that's where she was going to die by suicide, and found one of Cameron's rocks just laying on the ground.
Well, and when your intent for the rock campaign is to build awareness, and all of a sudden it shifts to saving a life, it was shocking to me. I told Sarah, this is an anomaly; it'll never happen again. And crazy thing is about 6 months later, a young gentleman reached out with a similar story.
That it happened again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Awareness becomes prevention, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all of these things matter. All of the ways that we reach to people matter. And, the simple rock that you think is going to be this thing you do during COVID, but now has become like your lasting legacy. And yeah, it's so much more than awareness. It's the treatment. It's the cure. It's the prevention. That is okay. So who comes up with the rock campaign?
Well, Sarah's the one that came up with the rock campaign. I remember COVID started. We couldn't go into classrooms anymore because we speak to about 2,000 high school students here on organ donation, usually targeting driver's ed classes, because that's the first time they'll be asked the question, do you want to be a donor or not? And anyway, COVID starts. We can't go in the classroom. That's shut down. Sarah looks at me one day and said, we need to keep creating awareness. And I said, well, what is your plan? What do you think? Well, let's take a colorful rock, paint it an unnatural color, put some paper in there talking about organ donation, talking about Cameron's story, and asking people to pay it forward, be nice to your fellow human being, and put it in a plastic bag for protection. And at first I thought, oh man, I don't think this is going to float. And anyway, I said, though, what is your goal? She said, I'd like to have one rock in every state in 6 months. And I said, Alaska and Hawaii as well. She said, yes. I said, well, they're far away. Anyway, so we reached out to our family and friends. We reached out to our social media family and friends. And within 6 days, there was a rock packet in every state. Since then, since we started that campaign, we have produced over 55,000 of these rocks. Now, right shortly before the incident with the young lady, that I told Sarah, I kind of threw a tantrum and said, I'm done with these. I'm tired of making these rocks. It's COVID's over. We don't need to have our kitchen table manufacturing these rock packets. Anyway, she said, well, let's continue a little bit more. But then she also reached out to Red River Human Services and asked, would your clientele would like to help us make these rock packets? And they said, yeah, a gentleman named Mike we talked with, and he said, bring a month's worth of supplies over. We'll see how it goes. And about a week later, Mike calls us back and said, hey, I need more supplies. And he said, well, we already gave you a month's worth. He goes, I don't know what it is about this, but for some reason, our clientele really engages with this because there's so many different activities. Some like to paint rocks, some like to bag it, some like to put the paper in. I don't know what it is, but at the end of the day, when they're supposed to leave, we have to actually pull those materials away because they still want to keep doing it. So the beautiful thing about this is not only is it helping us, but I believe they understand the value, the importance of this, and it just helping us move the message on.
Arlen and Sarah Fisher are with us from Crosses for Cameron and the Garden of Healing. I mean, all of the arms of how this touches people. What a beautiful thing that this project is touching so many people in so many different ways and continues to. And brilliant, Sarah. I mean, I am in love with what beautiful things came from the pandemic sometimes, you know what I mean? Some of the most beautiful ideas and the ways to connect. And I love that some of them just keep going. Let's talk a little bit about the Garden of Healing. Let's talk about the inspiration behind that and what you're doing at the Garden of Healing.
So again, that was all Sarah. I mean, she came up with the idea one day. We're sitting talking. It was actually pre-COVID.
So she's the brains and the beauty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, got it.
I'm just the muscle and the one that challenges her on her ideas because sometimes they go far-reaching. Anyway, we were sitting, this is a little bit pre-COVID, January, February of 2020. She looks at me one day and said, you know, there's so much suffering in our community, both physically and emotionally. We need to do something. And to this day, I still remember saying to her, I said, what am I going to do? I'm not a doctor. She said, well, you know, understand that both our science has proven that nature is a natural healing element for both the body and the soul. So she said, we should introduce more nature into our community. And I mean, it sounded like a great idea, but my next comment was, land's expensive. I mean, we can't afford to buy land to put something up. So through another third party, we were introduced to the Fargo Park System, and it was a great meeting. I remember still driving to our first meeting. I was thinking about, we're going to introduce this idea and see if they'd be willing to do it. But I said in 15 minutes of the meeting starting, we will be poo-pooed away. They're going to think that, it's not a good idea. And amazing thing is that 15 minutes into the meeting, the team that was there with us, I remember them reaching across the table and looking at us and said, before we go further, when's our next meeting? They already wanted to schedule another meeting. And, fast forwarding through that whole event, we met with the planning part of the park system. Eventually we had to go to the full commission to have this introduced. And I remember there's two groups ahead of us, and they were just being hit with tons of questions. And I looked at Sarah and said, oh, we're in trouble. And we got up and did our presentation and got done, and there was one question. And the question was, are you sure it's big enough? And I, at the time, being ignorant or naive, I said, sure, it's big enough. 2,400 square feet, that's a good size footprint. And fast forwarding and seeing the usage of the garden right now, because last year we had about 26,000 unique visitors come through the garden. And fast forwarding, we realized it wasn't big enough. So we have plans for phase 2, which moves the garden from, the garden's currently at about 3,000 square feet.
Where is the garden, by the way? I want people to imagine it while we're talking.
So the garden is located by the Shields Arena off of 32nd Avenue South in Fargo. So it's 32nd Avenue and 51st Street. So south of Sanford, the main campus, as well as north of Eventide off of 32nd. So right in that area, there's a park called the Urban Plains Park. We're right on the south end. We're flying both a U.S. flag and a Donate Life flag. So if you drive past, you see two flagpoles flying flags. That's more than likely the garden. So we have plans of moving it from 3,000 square feet to 30,000 square feet. Now, to paint that picture, what is 30,000 square feet? That's a football field.
Wow.
And I remember, so I'd love to tell you what this all came out of our heads, but we've worked with a lot of smart people to help us really develop a solid plan that's going to be amazing for our community and visitors to our community. And I remember going back to the commission and presenting what our plan is for the 30,000 square feet. And one of the gentlemen, one of the execs there, made a comment, said, Arlen, we do parks here. And I said, yeah. And he said, but we've never done anything to this scale. So although with that said, I think it's extremely beautiful. So the physical beauty is great, but the true value of the garden is not the physical beauty. It's how it helps our community heal.
Mm-hmm. My mom used to tell me all that all the time. It was like, just touch Mother Earth, that will heal you. You know what I mean? Like she was always weeding something or had her hands in the dirt. It was like, and just the other day I was picking weeds, and now I think of that every time. I'm like, I'm not going to look at picking weeds as a burden. Like, this is Mother Earth. She will heal us. Like, this Garden of Healing, how can people be part of what you're doing? I mean, if you haven't had goosebumps over the last 10 minutes several times, like, Ooh, wake up. Maybe it's too early, but you will get them later when you think of this conversation. How can people be part of your mission at Crosses for Cameron and at the Garden of Healing? How do people get involved and how do they help raise you up?
Well, we have lots of different volunteer opportunities, both in both sides. So they can reach out to us at info@gardenofhealingpark.org or info@crossesforcameron.org. And we can connect with them. A lot of them are weather dependent, of course, because it's outside. So,
but there should be lots of opportunities now. Right, we're right at the beginning of growing season.
We had a big planting. NDSU Horticulture and Forestry actually donated over 200 plants to us, and so we just had a planting on Wednesday, and had community come out and do that. And that you talked about what are the benefits of the garden. And it really is about community again. And, COVID was terrible because it took all of that away. And the people that we talk to say, I come out to the garden to find peace for myself, but I end up meeting someone. And they have a story, I have a story, we end up sharing stories. And that in itself is healing, to be able to share a story with someone who understands.
We all have loss. But if you can connect with someone who's lost a child
or someone who's lost their mom, then they connect with someone who's lost their mom. Those are real, true value connections, and ones that
can help people heal without even knowing, because just being able to talk about that person
with someone who understands is
really invaluable, because
we all need to talk about grief.
If we don't process it in a healthy way, then,
it can be really bad.
Yeah.
So
that's why we wanted to create that community where people come.
And, we can go out there anytime,
And there's always someone out there. There's
people just walk through there. And even if they don't know people in the bricks, we've had people say, I wish there was a little placard that said, little baby Wyatt. What you asked about Cameron. Who is baby Wyatt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we looked at that on our website too. Like, how could we incorporate a story about every brick? So if someone goes out there and they're on their phone, hey, who is baby Wyatt?
Sure. Yeah. And learn more about their lives. Yeah. I love that. Arlen and Sarah Fisher are with us from Crosses for Cameron and the Garden of Healing. Your dreams just keep getting bigger and they keep coming true. So I'm afraid, Sarah, if you speak something into the universe, it will happen. So you be careful.
Before I have another part of that, but other areas that we can need help with is, so we also sponsor about 6 miles of ditch along I-29, and it's in the Fleet Farm, the Butler Machinery area where we have it. So if people, organizations want to jump in and help us, there's plenty of garbage coming from those retailers that are along there that can pick up. Now, if you do that, I recommend you hang out with Sarah, because when she goes out, she seems to find $20 bills. If you hang out with me, you'll find dirty diapers. So we have that. But then alongside that, we're also looking for passionate people that really believe in the organization to help us on the social media side, as well as if there's expertise in, there's an app we use called Donor Docs that help us communicate with our donor pool. We're definitely in need of people that understand technology and can help us out.
Yeah, I love that. What a great opportunity. What a great opportunity for someone who is maybe just getting out of college and they want a little bit of experience to put on their resume as something that they've collaborated with you on. I think that's great. Let's find that person.
And a lot of businesses in town offer an 8-hour paid volunteer day. And also, if you have a family and you think, well, I can't help because I have a family, I have kids, a lot of the social media stuff that Arlen talked about could be done when you put the kids to bed.
Yeah.
Those couple sweet hours in the evening. So there's lots of opportunity for anybody who's either really busy or who's just looking for some way to give back to the community and doesn't know how.
Hey, if you want something done, you find a busy person, right? So just because you're busy doesn't mean you can't get this done. I'm always looking for the busiest person in the group because I know they're going to get it done with me.
Yes. Exactly.
Arlen and Sarah Fisher, what an amazing legacy Cameron has left for all of us. I mean, our entire community, we are so lucky to have been blessed by you guys and him and all that you're providing to us. So thank you so much for being here. Crosses for Cameron, Garden of Healing. Please get involved. This is the perfect time to do it right at the beginning of growing season to help maintain this. You guys are just getting started with this Garden for Healing stuff too. It sounds like you're only going to be bigger and better as the years go on.
Well, a few years ago, Pat Trainer from Dakota Medical Foundation asked us, so if money weren't an object, what would you want to do? Where do you want to take your organization? And both Sarah and I looked at him at the time and said, we would like to take it so we can have 50 gardens in 50 states in 10 years. And we need to do the first one correct, get it done, get a template, and that's what we like to go. And then just last April, when Patrick Kirby was emceeing our Denim and Diamonds event, he looked at me, he goes, why only 50 states? Why only one country? Why don't you take it international? And he goes, maybe the first step is between the U.S. and Canada. Who knows where it will go?
I love that. Again, you got to be careful what you two say out loud because it's all coming true now, baby. Crosses for Cameron, Garden of Healing. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for telling your story again, for sharing Cameron with all of us, for sharing Cameron with the world, with his heart and his love of outdoors. It's only going to get better from here, and we're so excited to be part of that mission with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.